Welcome to this baconbits video. Today's going to be a little bit different. Instead of showing you how to use a feature in Bacon, we'll be discussing, as you can see here, some network setup for Bacon Unlimited version 4.0 and 4.1. Specifically, I'll be walking through required ports, MDM ports, and service ports. Now that the Bacon feature set has grown, it's important to review this network configuration information and make sure that you and your IT team are all caught up with proper port, firewall, and network allowances. Let's get started. This is a Sankey diagram I put together that shows basic operational network settings with MDM configuration network settings. From the point of view of your endpoints, there are some outbound allowances that need to be in place. So your endpoints have to see 17.0.0.0/8 subnet at port 5223. And you'll see that all of those, this is the entire Apple block, and all of these IPs. Additionally, from endpoints, you'll see that port 4505, 4506, 4507, and 4508 must point to the Bacon server. The Bacon server, in addition to needing these ports inbound from your endpoints, your machines, Bacon server also has outbound ports to that same 17/8 block, but this time on port 2197, again, back to Apple. The Bacon server also needs DNS resolution capability and access to api.push.apple.com. And now let's have a chart, let's look at a chart rather, and look at every single kind of breakdown of this. These are all the port mappings for all of the features that Bacon can support at this time. And let's have a look. From your computers up at the top, you'll see port 4505 through 4508 points to your Bacon install. I'm just calling this your.bacon.com for the moment. And some of these are required. 4507 is the remote connection. It's up to you whether or not you allow it in your network. And 4508 is the MDM connection. This is required if you're going to use MDM. You'll notice that none of these network configs are bidirectional, and they all use TCP except for your syslog connection, which could use UDP if you choose it. And down in the Bacon server, you'll see that some of this goes to the different Apple sites like api.push.apple.com, and that 17/8 block of the internet goes to Apple. Then we have an allowance for the syslog server, LDAP server, SMTP, and the DNS. Now let's look at this. This next slide shows just basic setup. This top table shows just the rules required for basic operational state of Bacon, meaning if these aren't in place, Bacon is not going to work. Now you notice that I have put ports 22 and 443, and these are admin only, but you will still need these at some point in order to install Bacon and then use the Bacon product. Not required for remote connection. Again, your computer now must also reach out through 4507 using TCP to your.bacon.com or whatever your FQDN is for the site. You'll see the description listed over here as Bacon remote connection. Additional services listed here, syslog, LDAP, and SMTP. This list can change as Bacon does add new features for different service integrations, but these are the basic ones: syslog, LDAP, and SMTP. syslog 5140, but that's entirely up to your syslog setup. Maybe it's 5140, maybe it's 9000. Have a look at what your syslog collector uses, because this might be a different port. 389 right now, this is the required port for the LDAP connection. And then SMTP, again, that might be 25. That might be another port that your SMTP service uses. So please double check that before taking this port number at face value. And lastly, this is the page that discusses Mdm Setup. So in addition to the basic setup, your computers must now also look out to your.bacon.com to port 4508 and then the 17/8 block of the internet at port 5223. Again, your computers must look out to the Apple section of the internet 17.0.0.0/8 on port 5223. Your Bacon server has a few additional requirements now for Mdm Setup. One, it must be able to resolve api.push.apple.com over port 443. That goes to Apple. You will want the DNS server also active so that your Bacon server can resolve the IP for api.push.apple.com. And lastly, you want the Bacon server, just like your endpoints, to be able to connect to 17.0.0.0/8. This time though, the destination port is 2197. Your computers, it's the 17 block at 5223. For your Bacon server, it's the same 17 block, but at 2197. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this BaconBit video where we reviewed port configurations for Bacon version 4.0, 4.1, and we looked at the required basic ports, MDM ports, and additional service ports. Hope you have a great bacony kind of day. Stay crispy, stay salty, go bacon.